If your child keeps guessing on the RCM ear test, even though they're practicing, you're not alone. This happens to many students, especially around the intermediate levels. And most of the time, it has nothing to do with talent or effort. It usually comes from a few beliefs about ear training that sound completely reasonable, but quietly keep students stuck. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to see exactly which of these beliefs might be affecting your child. Myth 1. More practice will fix it. This is probably the most common belief I see. A student is practicing ear training, they're answering questions, they're spending time on it. And when things don't improve, the natural response becomes, okay, we just need to practice more. But the real issue is usually not the amount of practice, it's the direction of the practice. Practice without a clear listening strategy often turns into guessing and hoping the answer is right. That's not intentional practice. Ear training improves when students understand how to listen, when they have clear references, anchors, and strategies guiding them. Instead of asking, "What is this answer?" they begin asking, "What am I listening for?" That shift changes everything. When practice happens without that kind of direction, students often start feeling like they're just guessing, even if they're working very hard. And if you're not sure where your child's listening skills currently are, the readiness quiz I mentioned earlier can help give you a quick snapshot. Because clarity always comes before strategy. Here is myth 2. A little ear training here and there is enough. In many lessons, ear training gets a few minutes at the end of a lesson, or it suddenly becomes something students focus on a few weeks before the exam. And there's an assumption, often unspoken, that this should be enough. And sometimes it does work. I've worked with level 7 and level 8 students who come to me only a few weeks before their exam, having done very little structured ear training during the year. And they still did reasonably well. But there's usually a reason for that. Those students often already had a very strong foundation. Their listening skills from the earlier levels 1 through 4, were already quite stable. I also often notice that students who are involved in multiple musical activities like piano and singing, or piano and another instrument, tend to develop stronger listening skills naturally. Producing different pitches themselves and working with sound in different ways often strengthens the ear, even if they haven't spent much lesson time specifically on ear training. But for most students, listening skills don't grow when we rush them. They grow through steady exposure, thoughtful practice, and time. When ear training only appears briefly here and there, the ear simply doesn't have enough time to organize sound and recognize patterns reliably. And when these first two beliefs combine, practicing without clear strategy and ear training only appearing occasionally, this is often the moment when families begin wondering if their child simply doesn't have the ear. I hear this concern from parents all the time. If this situation sounds familiar to you, you're definitely not alone. And this brings us to the third belief. The belief that some kids just have better ears. This is the belief I hear when families are feeling discouraged. A child is practicing, they're working with a teacher, and ear training still feels difficult. At that point, it's easy to think, maybe this just isn't their strength. I want to be very careful and very clear here. Yes, people have different natural sensitivities to sound, but difficulty with ear training is rarely a ceiling. Much more often, it's a strategy mismatch. Listening strategies are not one size fits all. What helps one student hear clearly can leave another student completely lost. Let me share something personal here. I have perfect pitch, and even with that, ear training was not automatic for me. Knowing the exact pitches certainly gave me an advantage in melody playback. But hearing notes is not the same as organizing them. As melodies became longer at the higher levels, I still had to learn how to structure what I hear, how to remember longer passages, and how to respond quickly under pressure. And the same thing happens with intervals. I could hear the exact pitches, but that didn't automatically tell me the relationship between those sounds. I still had to learn how those pitches relate to each other musically. So even with a strong ear, strategy still mattered. That's why when a student struggles with ear training, it usually doesn't mean their ear is weak. More often, it simply means they haven't been shown how to organize what they're hearing in a way that works for them. So, if any of these beliefs sound familiar, nothing has gone wrong. Usually, it simply means one of three things. Practice didn't provide enough clarity, ear training didn't receive enough consistent time, or the strategy didn't match the learner. And the good news is that all of these are fixable. So if more practice alone doesn't fix ear training, and if talent isn't the real issue, what actually helps students improve? In the next video, I'll walk you through exactly how I would prepare for the RCM ear test if I had about 3 months. Calmly, step by step, without cramming. I'll see you in the next video.